You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Guys, it's your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging out with you guys in studio. And actually, we have a guest on the line. You guys know this gentleman. We got none other than Kory Ballard on the line. Kory, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Not much, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's awesome having you on the show. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. You're over in Des Moines, right? Iowa?
Yeah, Des Moines, Iowa. Yeah. Should we tell the listeners that you lost my last podcast?
Well, listen. This is unfiltered. We're shooting this one real time. It's early June. I did lose Kory's episode of the podcast, so I formatted a memory card. This sounds so embarrassing, by the way, but so funny story. Kory texted me about, what was it, 2 weeks ago, Kory? And you're like, hey, where's my episode, dude? When's it coming out? Because like you're all excited and amped up, and I'm like, yeah. So about that, and so I didn't have the guts to tell you, because not that like you're like super intimidating, but dude, you're a type A, just like Stanley Dirt Monkey. And when I tell people that I'm like actually pretty phlegmatic, I'm pretty like a not people person, and I'm pretty chill. I'm not a confrontational kind of guy. I'm like, yeah, Kory, so here's the honest answer. I actually lost your podcast, and I didn't want to tell you. so we're gonna
no worries, buddy. We'll do it again, and it was a while ago, and so I forgive you, and no worries. Maybe we'll do a better job this time. You never know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, we have matured a little bit on the podcast, because we shot that probably mid-January. It's been a minute, and in fact, back then we were talking about linking up to potentially work with Ballard products and the Ballard Inc. Innovative products. And since then, I mean, hundreds of you guys listening to the podcast have bought a lot of Kory's products, supported Kory's business. We'll talk a little bit more about that probably towards the later half of the show, because that's Kory's new pride and joy over the last couple years as he's been able to really focus on all that. But for some of you guys that might hear Kory's voice or kind of know of him a little bit, that's because you probably saw him on one of our YouTube videos. And so we went over to Des Moines, Iowa about a month ago. Kory hosted me over there, and we did two videos. We did one on the Ballard Inc. products. So if you ever want to see like some of the top 5, top 10 products on that video, you can go to YouTube on Brian's Law Maintenance YouTube channel. But also we did a tour of Perficut. And so, Kory, why don't you take it away for a quick minute or two? Let these people know like your story, like where you're coming from, and just so they kind of get a little bit more up to speed if they didn't see that first video on the whole Perficut walkthrough.
Yeah, so I appreciate you having me on, and so we did a kind of a site view or a site walk around of a couple of our Des Moines facilities, and taking it back just a little bit. I won't bore you guys with the whole 25-year history, but my story is very similar to a lot of guys in the lawn care industry. I started at 14 with a lawnmower, a push mower, and went door to door and knocked on doors and asked people if I could mow their grass. And, that led into, by the time I was a senior in high school, I had a couple mowing crews, and, I knocked on a lot of doors, and people somehow said yes. I must have been, fairly convincing. And,
Sure.
I was mowing grass just like a lot of us do. And, and at that time I wasn't sure what path I was going to take. I didn't know where I wanted to be with it. I knew I could work hard, and I knew I didn't want to work for anybody else, but, our community was growing, and I had a lot of opportunity. Of course, when you're that age, you've got a lot of guys, that want to work. So finding help back then was much easier, because you're in that age demographic where you can get guys that want to work. So yeah, I started my company very small, and we just started cutting grass and growing the company, and eventually took on a business partner down the road, a guy that I'd hired I graduated in '93, so that dates me a little bit, and so we grew the company, and now today, fast forwarding quite a ways. We've got 3 locations. We've got one in Des Moines, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, and then Cedar Rapids, Iowa, which also services Iowa City. And so we're a full-service lawn and landscape maintenance company. We do everything from mainly commercial But obviously mowing, lawn applications, irrigation service. We do a lot of large construction installation as well. As far as, plantings, hardscape, irrigation install, erosion control. And then one of our biggest divisions is commercial snow removal and site, really, we call it, site management. So our company today is Perficut Site Management. And, we try to handle and manage all aspects of commercial sites. So that means, we want to be a one-stop. You've got a dedicated account manager. We want to take care of everything on the outside of your building. And so that's been that's what we do today. And we've got, we're actually down on employees a little bit. I think we're in the 160, 170 range. We were at about 200 at one point. And that's only because, not really COVID, which has been going on, but I think we're learning to get a little smarter and we're trying to get, more out of less. And, we've learned a lot through this COVID and we put our people first and we really, really tried to engage with the health of our people. And fortunately for us, Iowa was, considered essential. So we were able to keep working. I know some of you guys weren't, Brian, you were going crazy. But,
I was kicking and screaming. Like some people are like, well, why don't you, you're just whining, why don't you stop whining? And I go, okay, well, put yourself in my position as Mr. Social Media Guru. I get 10 messages a day from people saying, dude, I just bought my first mower, like literally, dude, like March 1st, and I can't mow and I got payments due and like, I don't have any money saved up because it's their second year in business. And I'm like, I wasn't like going to war for me. I was going to war for all my brothers and sisters in the lawn care industry. And some people were like thinking I was being insensitive and whiny. And I'm like, and then, fast forward 10 weeks later, you see the cards really play out over the last week or two with what this lady's, my governor's all about. And, say no more. She's, it's purely political and, it's political to her. And who really suffers? Guys like me and you, Kory, like the small business owner, the small family man that's trying to just take care of his wife and kids. We're not trying to necessarily be millionaires here. I mean, trying to make profit, but yeah, man, it's been frustrating, but good for you guys that you were able to just plow right through all that,
we had to make some adjustments. Obviously we're sanitizing. We hired a company to come in and spray our vehicles at night and sanitizing break areas. We take everybody's temperature when they pull in the parking lot every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely taking some precautions, but we were able to keep working, thankfully. But it certainly didn't help our business. We had some large corporate sites that we were not able to be on for about a month there. So it wasn't without some disruption, but we were luckily able to keep working and but I do think it helped us. I think it kind of grounded us a little bit, and we started. I always try to find the good in anything bad. I always try to find the good in it, and it kind of changed our focus on what's our most valuable asset, and it's our people. Everyone wants to say it's their customers. In my opinion, it's your people.
Sure.
Because without your people, you can't take care of your customers. So it kind of changed our mindset again, and we were able to really keep everybody employed, and not have people getting on unemployment. And we've luckily only had a few cases of COVID, and we had some people working from home, which brings up a whole other topic, which makes you start to wonder if you even need offices like that. We got through it. We got through it, and now it's not normal, but it's getting much closer to whatever this new normal is. So we got through it, and we're working, and we're ready to rock, and the weather's been cooperating with us as best as it can, so we're good to go.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take a quick second here. We're gonna hear from our show sponsors, which is Xmark. Definitely appreciate those guys sponsoring the episode. But if you guys are wanting to stick around with us, I want to pick Kory's brain with growing a larger company, building company culture. Some of the pitfalls, as you continue to grow. You guys normally that are listening in, and so many of you guys shoot me DMs on Instagram saying, dude, I love the episodes. I love this podcast. Like, it's unfiltered. Like, this is the real deal. Hey, I really do appreciate this, because I put a lot of time and effort into this podcast to just give you guys the meat. Okay. This isn't YouTube where it's, hey, this is Brian's All Maintenance and welcome to the channel, which is fine. That's what I got to do on the YouTube on the internet, on the interwebs, right, Kory? But on the podcast, I just want to shoot it to you guys straight and give you the meat. Well, here's the deal. On most of our podcasts, when we're interviewing other contractors or other business owners, I'm always like, hey, what's your startup story and what's all this other stuff? Like, and I do want to kind of, breeze through that a little bit with Kory to kind of hear how he started, but I wouldn't be able to take advantage of this whole situation about asking Kory really good questions about, hey, dude, how do you grow a larger company? Like, would you do it again? What were some of the pitfalls? What were some of the benefits? Like, these are some of those questions that, I can't really ask somebody who's running a $250,000 a year business, but somebody who runs a multi-million-dollar business, I want to get that kind of perspective. Is that okay, Kory? So
Absolutely.
I know you and I were spitballing before we hit record. You're like, dude, I love building teams and company culture and branding and marketing and vision. And I'm like, yes, like that's the meat. So if you guys want to stick around here, it's going to be a really fun hour, good powwow. Let's do this. Let's hear from one of our show sponsors, which is Xmark, and then we'll jump right back into it.
At Xmark, we've poured decades of leading-edge engineering and old-fashioned work ethic into our Laser Z, the pioneering commercial zero-turn rider more landscape pros trust. So now you can experience cut quality, performance, comfort, durability, and reliability beyond your wildest dreams. Stop by your local dealer or visit xmark.com to experience an Xmark Laser Z and the attractive financing offers available now.
Awesome. Well, always appreciate Xmark sponsoring the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Big shout out to those guys. Kory, I love my Xmarks, man. We run those like crazy. Got a lot of hours on my units. And again, thank you to those guys for sponsoring the show. By the way, all of you guys that keep asking me, like, what's some good mowers to get started with? Check out the Xmark Metro 36, the Xmark Commercial Push 30, the Turf Tracer, the Xmark Laser Z, all around great product line. So if you guys want to check out Xmark, xmark.com. So let's do this. Let's jump back into it. So Kory, one thing I got to open this up with is a little funny joke that I saw one of the comments on one of the YouTube videos with the Perficut tour. I captured it on camera. I don't know if you watched the video multiple times, but I watch all my videos just for editing sake. And somebody was laughing. They said, hate to be the guy that left the oil spill on the floor when the boss walked through on the tour. Because your face, like, it just went like 2 shades of white. Like, you were like, I'm going to kill somebody. So did you ever follow? What happened with that?
Here's the truth of it. That just goes to show you guys, we weren't rehearsing. We didn't script it. We just said, hey, your flight had got changed, and we said, hey, let's go down to Perficut and I'll show you around.
Yeah.
So, there was no, that's how it looks sometimes. And so there was no me calling the shop team and saying, hey guys, I'm doing a tour, have this place spick and span.
Yep.
That's how it looks. And, shit happens. And okay, I'm not sure if I can say that.
It's unfiltered.
So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but I certainly was a little taken back, but, because I said, like, we keep this place spotless, and I looked over and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
But, then we walk to the back and the cages are unlocked. And guys, that's just reality. I don't care what size you are and how many rules and procedures you have in place. They're still they're ran by people, and people make mistakes. We were in there on a Saturday, maybe a Friday at the end of the day. The guy had a tough day and decided not to clean it up. I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that nobody got their butt chewed. I was back down there Monday. It was gone. It was cleaned up. They didn't see the video. They just Monday somebody got in and cleaned that up. And but we're not perfect by any means. We try to keep a really, really clean facility and clean vehicles, and I think clean uniforms, and I think that ultimately continues to hopefully make those guys have pride when they jump in a vehicle that is clean and the mowers are clean and the shop's clean, that they take pride in the work that they're going to go do that day. If you show up and the truck's got Mountain Dew bottles and McDonald's wrappers on the floor and they fall. What kind of image are you trying to put out there? And so we really try to lead by example and say, we're going to give you a clean workspace and we're going to give you a clean truck and equipment that's not new necessarily. It doesn't have to be new. It just has to be safe.
Yeah.
And well maintained. And
we
try to give them the best opportunity to do the work that they can do.
Dude, for sure. Well, you and I were catching up after, and once we shot the video, and we were talking about a couple things like that. And you had said to me, Brian, here's the reality. Like, as big as this aircraft carrier is, and as proud of it as you are for it, and what you've accomplished, you were like just being honest. You're like, dude, we don't have it all figured out. We're learning every single day. And can you speak to that a little bit? Because a lot of my audience, right? We're owner operators, or we have 2 guys or 5 guys or 10 guys, right? And some people see you or like those larger companies, right? And it's like this elusive, esoteric thing I always joke about. Like, man, if I could just get to Kory's level or just to this guy's level, like it would all be, figured out. It would all be okay. Like, is that your experience, or do you guys still have like day-to-day issues and things that you're struggling with or learning from? Like, can you maybe, that insurance story that you were telling me about? Like, I don't know if you want to talk about that one, but little things like that, you know what I mean? Nobody knows these real stories,
Yeah, the reality is, guys, that, in my experience, it never gets easier. It's all relative. I think people, I do some consulting in the off season, and guys say, if I just could get to, X, maybe X is $1 million, then I wouldn't have to be there. And you and I were talking off the record when you were at our facility. And in my experience, at least in our industry, everybody I know that's successful, man, they're in there grinding. It is absolutely tough. I mean, we have to have our finger on the pulse at all times. It's magnified by more employees and more equipment and more breakdowns and more risk. And the risk is the thing that I think people forget. When you get bigger, you have more risk. And as an owner, when, if somebody were to get killed or you're at, there's a lot of risk that comes with that. So no, it's not all figured out. We are constantly evolving. We're constantly getting better. And from the outside, it's funny. I talk to a lot of people like, man, you guys got it together. And I think on the outside, it looks pretty good, right? I mean, on the outside, the trucks are clean. We've got what we think are the best clients. The guys look good. Our quality work is we think really good. We still make mistakes all the time. But on the inside, we're that hamster, running on the wheel, missing a leg, he's still stumbling. And so, I think the best companies are very self-aware of, what are we good at? What do we need to improve? And I think as soon as you stop trying to improve your business, you're going to be in trouble. And that goes for a guy that has 4 employees or 40 employees. You constantly have to be really self-aware. I think that's where we've been really good. We're very self-aware of what are we good at and where are we not good and what can we do to fix it. And we can't fix it all. So we have to kind of prioritize. We meet every Tuesday. We have an L10 meeting. We call it every Tuesday, and it's a strategy team. And we start with employees and customers. So our employees are our number 1 asset. Employees are our number 2. What employee issues do we have and how can we fix them? What customer issues do we have and how can we fix them? And then everything else falls below the line, and we start figuring out, because without employees and without employees, we have nothing. Without customers, then you don't need the employees, right? And so we start to figure out equipment can be bought, equipment can be fixed. All those things can be done. So we just, I don't know if that's answering your question. We're just very self-aware of where we fail, and we still fail all the time. People assume that you have it all together, and our business it's a grind, man. It takes. My business partner runs the day-to-day as I focus on the Ballard side now, and I mean he's still a 55, 60-hour a week guy, and it is it's a grind. It's a grind. He's in there all the time.
Do you want to talk about the insurance story, or you want to abstain? You remember the one with some of the equipment that you guys don't have anymore? That do you know this whole story? Remember you were still paying insurance on, or no?
Yeah. I mean, we've had that. Yeah, we've had. As we grew our company, one of the things we were really good at is sales. We were good at selling, and we were good at getting the work done, but we didn't manage our company very well. And when we went through kind of the 08, 09, for you guys that maybe didn't go through that, but the kind of recession, we realized we had a lot of fat in our company, and we weren't managing our company very well. And we just about closed down, which was crazy to me. It was very humbling. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. And we realized we weren't managing our company, and we got an outside guy to help us, and we started going through, and I think this is what the story you're talking about. Brian, we had, we had vehicles insured we didn't own anymore. We had cell phones we were paying for that employees didn't work for us anymore. We had gas cards floating around with people they didn't work for us. we were just very, very sloppy. And, you know, when times are good, you can be a little bit sloppy. And we learned from that. And we had to really take, a good look at what is our business, you know, how are we operating and what can we do to maximize it and control it. I mean, you know, I think we had like 30 items that we were insuring we didn't even own anymore, you know, and it's like, does that even happen?
Yeah, you told me how much you guys were paying on it. And I'm like, Kory, some people would like to make that per year, you know, and just on your insurance premiums.
It's oversight. It's oversight. And so we, you know, one of the things that, you know, I would have done different is, you know, we would have worked on the back end a lot more. And you know, whether that's using a jobber or a yard book or what, doesn't matter what software you use. I'm not promoting any of them. They're all, but we were sales first, get work done, and we'll figure out the books later. And there were many years that we wouldn't get our financial statements. You know, we were 3 months in the rear. We'd get June's in August or September. We didn't even know if we were making money or not. And we just knew we were out working. And, you know, so, you know, one of the things I would have done a lot different is I would have paid a lot more attention to the business side of it. We just thought, hey, we're busy. We got to be making money, right? And a lot of guys find out that they're not.
Well, that's one of those pitfalls as the company grows. Because, I mean, I've done that. There's times where I'm just runaway freight train. We got to sell, and take on new customers. And I'm like, I'm up 35 customers. But it doesn't mean that I'm like up all this extra profit. I might just have more overhead or more headaches. Do you see, like, as people continue to grow a company and they want to get a larger company, that, you know, okay, so not managing the back end of the business or paying attention to those details? Because there's some guys right now that are in that process, man. They went from, you know, 2 guys and they got 12 guys this year, and they're like, yeah, we're going to do $600,000 or 1.2 million. Any other pitfalls that you can, that are glaring pitfalls as you guys continue to grow that you can relate back to? Because, you know, when some of these people started adding their 3rd crew and their 4th crew or their 5th crew or a landscape division, I mean, you guys went through all these different phases and seasons of your company. So any guiding advice you can continue to give those guys?
Yeah, I think it's important to make sure that you know each person's strengths and weaknesses. What I see a lot happen is the owner. Before you know it, the owner's in there and he's answering the phone, he's doing the billing, he's making collection calls, he's doing the payables. But maybe he's the best salesman that company has. And he's doing bills at night, which is taken away from maybe his family or whatever that looks like. And I think it's that control thing that maybe we have as business owners. Nobody else will know it. Nobody else will be able to do it right. And I just talked to a guy last week and he's struggling with the same thing. He's got a nice company and, over the $1 million mark, and he's doing all the bookkeeping, all the books. And I said, wow, you can pay somebody, maybe just get somebody 32 hours a week, and they'll take all that off your plate and you can get back to what you're good at. So I think it's important to figure out where are you best suited in your company, and not as the owner. What is your best skill set? Are you the best operation manager? Are you the best sales guy your company has? Because if you're the best sales guy, then get out there and sell. And I guarantee you'll pay that $30,000, $32,000, $40,000, whatever that admin person costs you. You know, if you do it right, maybe you can find somebody that's looking for, maybe it's somebody retired, or maybe it's a stay-at-home mom that's looking for 28 to 32 hours a week, and they can do all that stuff, because that's not the best use of your time. And I see that a lot where guys like, well, they'll never figure it out. You know what? With today's software and technology, if you're doing the payables and billing, and you know what, that's probably not the best use of the owner's time. And so I think that there's that control, and then there's also that self-awareness of where can I be most useful to my company? Where am I working on the business or am I working in the business? And that's a really hard spot. And I think it happens at about that $1 million mark where you're kind of in that weird spot. You got maybe 10 to 12 guys, and you don't think you can afford an admin person, but your quality control, your production control, you're getting guys out. You're also HR, you're also billing, your accounts payable. And a lot of guys, that's the turning point. Some guys throw the towel in at that point and say, dude, this isn't for me. The guys that make it figure out, okay, stop. What am I good at? And sometimes it's as simple as writing it down. If I were, I always tell guys to back up. Like, if you were to start over today, what would this look like? And then work from there. I would do this. This is my skill set. I would have somebody else do this. Okay, can I hire that person, or do they already work for me?
Mm-hmm.
If I need a production manager, what would they do? What would their day look like? What skill set would they need, and what would they do? It's quality control. It's customer service. It's estimates. Whatever that looks like for your business. And sometimes you just got to take a step back, grab a piece of paper and a pen, and write it down. But I just see a lot of owners. It's a control thing, right? They want to wear all those hats. And one of two things happen. They either figure it out or they burn themselves out. And that's what happens.
Well, in my experience and my observation, of course, your company is 1,000 times bigger than mine. I'm learning from guys like you and you're in our industry and other industries, successful people. And I've always heard like the 3 words, be a quitter. Like you're always trying to quit jobs that you shouldn't be doing. Like, for example, like the bookkeeping or taking out the trash or the accounting or this or that. Like, I pay a bookkeeper a couple $100 a month to take care of my books. And it frees me up 5, 10, 20 hours a month. Like I hate doing it. Number one, they give me monthly reports, quarterly reports, semi-annual, annual. I look at the reports. I'm like, hey, are we making money? We're not making money. And they're like, yeah, you're running this margin. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, where should I be? And they go, yeah, you're on base. And I go, all right, cool. And I compare notes to a friend and a couple other friends. And I'm like, where are you guys at? And I'm like, all right, this looks pretty good. And it's supporting the lifestyle I want. So like, boom, check plus. Could I dial it in more? Of course. But like, I'm also trying to just, of course, grow that top number and get to the next thing. But I'm trying to have those checkpoints along the way to make sure that we're profitable at every level, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And you're totally right. And by the way, everybody hears these ads from like Fiverr.com and Upwork and this company and that company, and you can sub out a lot of this stuff. And you're like, well, I don't want to relinquish the control. And dude, I mean, like, I don't know about you guys, I just get uneasy even hearing people suggest stuff like that. Even at my level, I'm like, I don't want to relinquish control. I relinquish control of my taxes, my bookkeeping, my payroll, my HR, all that stuff in the last 6 months. And man, I'm like a feather light. I used to be this like, I don't know, this big C-130 cargo plane, like, carrying all these problems with me, Kory, as a small business. But I learned that like in 2020, there's like these companies that exist that can, you can hire out as a contract basis to manage your HR and manage your this and manage your that. And it's actually pretty cheap. Now, I guess the next level is maybe hiring somebody full-time on staff and bringing it in-house, kind of like what you're alluding to at your level. Is that kind of what you're piggybacking on and what you're saying? Yeah,
I mean, and you'll find that when you let go, most of the time they're better at it, and that's an ego thing. Most of the time they're better at it because they can focus on it. The difference is if you're wearing every hat in your company, even though you think you're the only one that knows, you're not that good at it, guys. I mean, none of us. I can't do 40 things really well.
Right.
I can do 5 or 10 things pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is when you hire somebody, and there's always fear. Almost every time we hired somebody, I had fear, and then within 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I'm like, man, that's the best thing we ever did. Rarely have I ever said like that didn't make sense. And it's a control thing. And if you can't do that, that's okay, but then you can't grow. So you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision with what are your goals? Where do you want to be? And what are you willing to do? And if you want to micromanage everything, it's going to be really, really tough to grow. Plus, people won't want to work for you. You have to empower people. You have to let them make mistakes. And that's a hard thing to do. I'm a control guy. I'm a perfectionist, which is difficult.
Me too. Yep.
You have to let people make mistakes. And listen, they're not the end of the world. They make a mistake. You go back and say, hey, I saw we did it this way. I would have done it this way. Can you tell me why you did it? And then they go, okay. I see why you do it that way. I understand your point. Next time, let's try to do it this way. See if we get better results. You don't go in and belittle them like, hey, you idiot. This is how we do it. And this is the only way we do it. Because sometimes there are better ways. People get stuck, and when they're unwilling to make change. There's that saying, it's like, people that, never change, nothing changes. And then there's, also a deal that says, one of the scariest things in business is we've always done it that way. Well, things are changing, and so you have to just be willing to let go. And I think most guys it just takes some honesty. You have to be really, really self-aware and honest. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I suck at. There's certain things I'm really not good at, and if I suck at them, it means I probably hate them, which means I'm really not good at them. And so, like you said, if you're a small guy, man, there's so many outsourced. You can outsource your payroll for minimal dollars. You can outsource your bookkeeping for minimal dollars. You can find a retired school teacher that maybe will do your billing twice a week, whatever that looks like for your business. And then you can work on the things that help drive your business to the next level. And most people say, I can't afford it. And I always ask them, I would say, you can't afford not to. You mean you can't afford $500 a week for a bookkeeper? Well, how much more sales could you do if you could get in the field?
Yeah.
Well, I could sell a ton. I'm like,
you sell $100,000 worth of work that week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if you can sell a ton, what are you in here doing accounts payable for? I mean, you can get somebody for $16 an hour to do that. Are you not worth more than that to the company? And so it's that balancing act that guys have to play. And there's always those, as you grow your company, you're going to have more profitable years than others, where you're going to get at those certain sizes. As we grew our company, we were really profitable at X. And then we had a couple of years where we weren't. And then we were really profitable at X. And then as you build that infrastructure in, you're going, but as long as you know it, I was always okay with it as long as we knew it. When I was, okay, we're a little heavy on admin, or we need this bigger building, where we know that next year's probably not going to be a very profitable year, but we've got to get some systems in place. We need this. And, so as long as you know it, and you're aware of it, I think you can weather that storm. And
can I ask you one question, one that I get a lot, when to hire? So here's what I want to say, and then I want to hear your thoughts. Because I'm learning, right? I'm not a finished product. I've always heard hire first and then backfill, meaning you want to grow a second crew. Let's say you only have, let's say a crew needs 50 lawns to keep this crew running at full capacity. In this little example, let's say you got 10 people or 10 customers, so you don't have the full 50 to hire that new guy. I've heard hire that guy because you can teach him and train him correctly. You have time, because if you have 50 accounts that needs this one guy, you're going to be desperate, and you're going to potentially hire the wrong guy. But I've always heard hire first and then grow into it. So when your company's growing fast and you need payroll or this or that, do you believe, Kory, like, just to piggyback on what you were just saying, like hire first and then grow into it? Or do you feel like get the work and then hire it? What's your thought process on all that?
I agree with you. I think, sorry, my truck died, so it's stinging.
No problem.
I agree with you. I think, because what happens is if you don't hire first, you get desperate and you'll hire anybody that walks in the door. Okay. The other thing that happens is if you hire first and you get that guy accustomed and trained, you're also, if you have your company set up right, you're going to be more motivated and excited about selling, knowing that you have the capacity to do the work. It's hard when you if you're the sales guy and the owner, and you don't, and maybe you're also HR because you don't have anyone else to do HR. So you hire the guys and you get 12 estimates that come in on a Thursday. And all you're thinking is, if I go do these 12 estimates and I get all of them, or I get 6 of them, I don't have anyone to do the work. So your motivation, now you're less motivated to sell because all you're thinking is, I have no ability to get the work done. So when you have the guys in place, you get those 12 estimates that come in on a Thursday, you're like, bam, I'm going to be the first guy there. I know I've got a guy that's we're ready to rock. I've got a little bit of schedule flexibility. So yeah, I completely agree. I think guys that wait until they're maxed out, and then, I got to go hire 2 guys. Well, good luck. You have no time to train them. You throw these guys in a truck if you can find them. Yep. Quality is terrible. So I agree with you. Again, it has to be a balancing act of, you can't just hire a guy and have him sweeping the shop every day either. Right. You have to get to that point where you say, okay, I got enough. And I also advocate for running one-man mowing crews for a while where, you know what, I don't have enough to put a 2-man crew out there, but I'm going to run a one-man crew. He's going to do some small commercial or some small residential. I got enough work for him for, 30 hours a week or whatever. but you're going to be much more likely to go out and sell aggressively. And that doesn't mean lowball. That means you're going to be confident and comfortable knowing that you have the capacity to fill up that route.
That's good.
Versus thinking, holy shit, if they say yes, I know I can't get this done. So you know what I'll do?
Yeah.
I'm going to call 4 of those 12 people back today because I don't really want, I can't do the work anyways. And then that's a really tough spot to be in. That's why I say, get that office girl hired if that's where you're at. Get yourself the ability to be in the field, to sell work. You know, get that guy hired and trained if you got to spend some time with him yourself, or if you've got a guy that's maybe a better trainer than you. Hire first and fill it up.
Well, by the way, and this one's kind of like just a different thought I had because I've heard this before too. And this actually goes back to when I was managing my Little Caesars restaurant, is that I've always noticed that when we hired somebody and we threw them into the crucible, man, sometimes they made it, but oftentimes those people quit in their first day, their first week, because they're like, man, this place isn't organized. People are running around. People are stressed out. People are like uneasy. They're on edge. Like nobody's listening to like the radio and, listening to music and having a good time pulling weeds or mowing grass. People are stressed out. They're like, dude, we got to get this done. We're going to work till 8:30 tonight. It's like, what? Like this guy just signed up. He's not even physically able to do our industry, which is physically tough. And now you're going to stress him out working, 5/12s. Like probably not the best idea. Like for me, I bring these people on and I'm not soft on them, but I'm like, hey, like we're going to work 35, 40 hours a week. It's going to be pretty chill. We got our pricing right. Here's what I expect. Here's what I need out of you. And if you don't come up to the standard, like you're out. But it's a little bit easier to bring somebody into that environment where there's expectations and it's a little bit more comfortable for everybody, because I don't want to have to train somebody where, Kory, let me know if you've ever had this thought or ever heard this as you consult people. Well, I can't hire somebody because they're just going to drag me down. And so it's easier for me to just go out and do it than to go hire somebody. Like, I don't know if you guys are listening.
I hear it all the time.
All the time. Yeah, I don't know if you guys listen to this. Like, if you can raise your hand in your mind, like your mind hand, because I'm like that was me. I'm like, oh, I can't even take 5 minutes to slow down to hire somebody, and that sucks. I just to be honest with you, I hated that. Like, I always felt like the tail was wagging the dog, and I'm always like, well, I got 100 accounts. Well, raise your prices, get a few less customers, slow down to speed up. I mean, if you don't address these problems, they're going to be problems forever. And so, can you speak to that at all, Kory? With like, again, you got to take time to slow down to speed up and to hire these people, but don't just throw them into the fire, man. Like, that's not cool for anybody.
Well, that's just it. And I hear that all the time. I don't have time to hire, and I say, you don't have time to not hire. I just don't have any time to hire. I'm like, why not? Well, I'm in the field. You're in the field because you're not hiring. It's this. We can go around and around however you want to play it. So you're in the field, so you can't hire. And so that again brings me back to figuring out where you're, depending on the size of your company, where are you best suited in your company, and are you working on your business or are you working in your business? Because if you're on a mowing crew yourself all day long, you're right. How are you going to interview and hire? And so. Yeah, I get that all the time. I just don't have time to hire. And I also get, nobody wants to work these days. Everybody's an idiot. All these kids are this or that. I'm like, guys, that's just not true. The best companies find good people. I can tell you right now, we have our meeting. We have 80 or 100 applications sitting there right now. And again, of that, Brian, there might be 10 good ones. I don't know.
Sure.
But we create a place where people want to work. We try to pay top industry wage. We try to give them a safe, clean work environment. So you create your own image. What do your trucks look like? Your people look happy? Is your equipment clean? I mean, what image are you portraying? I talk a lot about, where do you interview guys? You bring them into a filthy, dirty shop and you're unorganized and your desk looks like a war zone. And you're like, well, where do you,
or interview them curbside, at a job,
Yeah, exactly. What is that when that guy leaves that interview? Does he go home to his, I'm using a guy, maybe does he go home to a significant other and say, wow, I don't want to work for that company? Or does he go home and say, you know what, that guy was inspirational. That was a good interview. He asked the right questions. We try to ask a lot of questions. Yeah, we try to ask a lot of questions and we tell them the history of the company. We tell them where they can go, in our company, within our company, growth opportunity. We try to give them, whether we hire them or don't, or whether they stay or don't, we want them to go home and say, man, that's a quality company. But we also try to find out a lot about who they are and what are their goals. And so we ask a lot of unconventional questions, because I get a lot that you probably hear too is, I'm only hiring guys with experience. And I'm like, well, good luck. Good. Like, we have found our best guys started with no experience, so we can train them the way we want to train them. Now,
I love
that takes longer, right? I mean, it takes longer. You got to invest in them. But when we've hired guys from other companies, they usually bring bad habits. They're like, well, this is how we do it over at Joe's Lawn Care. I'm like, well, you don't work at Joe's, right? Joe's out of business. But and so we have found that, the more we put into the interview and the more we put into them, we invest in them. I want to know about their family. What are their goals, short term, long term? What have they done in the past? What I want to know the individual we're hiring. If we can hire quality people, the rest we can figure out. Everybody's so set on, I got to hire guys with experience because I don't have time to train. And I'm like, man, I'd rather hire quality individuals, and we'll invest in them. I'd rather hire a quality individual, and then the rest of it we can train. And now, again, with some size, we have people that train, and I know that's not the same for a lot of you guys. You're like, I got 2 crews, like, I can't, who's going to train them? Well, most guys, if you spend a little time with them, you can have them up to speed in a couple weeks. And, If you invest in them guys, those are the guys that are going to stay. Otherwise you're just going to turn and burn. If you hire a guy off the street corner and you interview him at Casey's gas station, I don't know if you guys have Casey's, but you interview him at a gas station and he starts the next day, what's the likelihood he's going to stay? Or the other thing I'd like to throw out there is, if he left another company because you offered him 50 cents more, he's going to leave you when somebody offers him 50 cents more. We don't play the price game.
Yep.
We just don't do that, because if I got him for 50 cents more, as soon as Joe's Lawn Care offers him 50 cents more, he's gone again. And we don't play that game. So you have to think about the type of people you're hiring if you want longevity out of them. And listen, that being said, when we were running and gunning and growing like crazy, people came in, if they could breathe, talk, and tie their shoes, I threw them a blue T-shirt and they were mowing the next day.
A 98.6,
Yeah, but we've done it wrong. We've screwed it up. Some of those guys made it, some of them didn't. We've done all that wrong. But when we found that we slowed down our process and changed the way we recruited and hired, we were much more successful in keeping people and trying to get people that had some core values that aligned with our core values.
No, this is good.
Honest people.
Yeah.
Are they going to honest people? Are they going to steal from me? I mean, it's tough out there, but there are people willing to work. You just have to put the work in. And as you business owners try to figure out where you're best suited, you've got to have the time to invest in
Yeah, well,
in hiring.
What's the meme I always see? I think you posted it the other day. Like, a CFO says, "What if we train these people and they leave?" And the CEO says, "What if we hire them and they don't," or something like that? And or what if we hire them and we don't train them, and they stay?
Yeah, what if we train them and they leave? And it's like, what if we train them and they don't? Or what if we don't train them and they stay?
Yeah,
and it's like, so. And you guys, we realize that we're not an end game for everybody. I say this all the time. I know that Perficut is not an end game for everybody, but I just hope that when you leave, I hope that you leave a better individual than when you started, whatever that looks like. I hope we taught you a little bit about hard work, respect. We treat you with respect. We expect respect in return. I just hope that you leave a better individual. We have people that leave all the time. Irrigation technician. Hey, I'm going to the electric union, or I'm going to the plumbers union. I got a job driving a semi. Man, we shake hands and go, dude, we appreciate your 2 years here. We wish you all the best of luck. Like, I want you to leave better than when you came. I know that I'm not mad at him for trying to better himself. I want him to better himself. Now, you better have a program in place to replace them, though. That's that's the deal. At our size, we're always hiring. When we're full, we're always interviewing because we're always looking for new people with the right core values and work ethic, and sometimes that means we hire them and we let somebody go that maybe is not the right fit, or and so
this is good. I find this really helpful. Yeah, I mean, I find this really helpful because I've always heard that a company is nothing more than a piece of paper and a manila folder, and it's really your people. And so, people see these big grandiose companies like Perficut and this shop in the yard, and well, that's not really what Perficut is. Perficut's just a piece of paper that's filed with the state government. It says you're an Inc. or an LLC. Your company and your organization is your group of people. And so I'm always looking at Amazon. Amazon's not great because of Amazon, because it can ship products to your door in 2 days. Although that is what they do. It's great because of the amount of people, the quality of people that believe in that philosophy and who they are and what they do. And so when you're even if you have just you as an owner operator, guys, or you and a guy, you got to think that same level of quality and that vision and your standards. I call it actually giving a shit, unfiltered here. Yeah. I tell my guy, Rob, dude, actually give a crap. These people are paying good money and we can never grow our company. I don't care if you're doing $100,000 or 20 million. You got to be actually care. You have to care. We have to do a good job. And if you're the owner, don't be spitting all over. Don't be doing stupid stuff. Don't run over the newspaper. Pick that stuff up, man, because your employees are going to look to you for leadership, and what you do, they do. And so, and I know that Perficut is a direct reflection of you, Kory, and your business partner, Matt. And so I see that permeate throughout the whole organization, Hey,
yeah.
Go ahead. If you got another thought. Sure.
I always just ask guys, would you work for you? And I want you to be honest about that. When you think about it, would you work for you? And that's a good one. Just what I want guys to think about, but really, would you work for you? And that's, I just want guys to think about that as they hire people, and what kind of message are you putting out there to your employees? And here's the other thing, your employees are your best ambassadors. When a guy puts on your logo and he goes to his kid's little league game or his church or golf event, and they say, "Oh, you work for Brian's?" And, what does he say? Yeah, Brian's a prick, or does he say, "Yeah, man, I work for a great company, man. Brian's he's a good guy, man. He takes good care of me." So think about that. I mean, would you work for you? And what message are your people telling when they wear that ball cap with your logo on it on a Sunday morning to their kid's soccer game? When someone says, "Do you work for Joe's Lawn Care?" Does he say, "Yeah, Joe's a prick"? Or does he say, "Hey, you know what? I'm working for Joe because I can't find a better job"? Or does he say, "Yeah, I love it there, man. These guys they're really great to me. They take good care of me. They've got my back." So just
That's
something
good.
to think about. I always like guys, would you work for you? And if the answer is no, you better make some changes.
Yeah, that's super good. When I always oh, you work for so and so. My friend Mike Bedell, he does this. Interesting. So that's really, really good. I mean, a checkup from the neck up, man. Sometimes we're so quick to put everything else under the microscope, and we never or even last put ourselves under the microscope. And I mean, you guys listening this far in, man, we're trying to give you the meat here. Every day I'm just trying to be generous, be kind, be nice. People get into my grill all day long, YouTube, social media. I mean, and I'm just hey man, no big deal. Love you, man. Care about you. Even if you hate me, I care about you. It's just same thing with my company, man. We're not perfect, but we try to do a good job, and we'll fix the problem if we make a mistake, because we're not perfect, we're not Perficut, right? So,
we're not perfect either, buddy. Not even close.
Amen. Well, hey, let me ask you a couple quick things. Just to respect your calendar and time. Plus, I got about another 15, 20 minutes. I got another gentleman actually coming over to my house, which is going to be cool. We're going to do another in-studio podcast. I want to do this just kind of bullet round. If you got a couple minute thoughts on each one of these topics, Kory. One question I get a lot is bidding corporate accounts or earning these larger commercial contracts. You and I, we got to do another podcast, man, because we'll do another one in a month or two if you want to jump on, because I know we can go down this rabbit hole forever. But I get a lot of people asking me, how do you get bigger commercial accounts? How do you get these larger contracts? How do you break in, right? And when you and I were hanging out, and this is my question to you, is I asked you this question, and you said, Brian, and I don't know if you remember this conversation, but you said, Brian, if we don't get a face-to-face interview with that office manager or whoever's handling the account, if we don't get that face-to-face interview, Perficut doesn't bid on it. And I said, what do you mean? And so you had this like 10-minute conversation with me about how you guys approach this. I thought it was super valuable, super insightful. Can you, I don't know if you remember this conversation, but can you piggyback off of that?
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, when we're looking at commercial work, if you're just, for us, if you want to be a low-cost provider and you want to take care of the bank on the corner and the gas station and the hotel, then that might work for your business model. But if you want to build long-term partnerships with commercial clients, you've got to go in and tell your story. And we're big on telling our story. What do we bring to the table? So when we look at a commercial site, the only way we will bid on it, per se, is we need a face-to-face meeting. And what we do in that face-to-face meeting is we find out, what their needs are, but more, we don't really care who their current contractor is, but we find out what they're looking for. We tell our story, our history, what we're passionate about. What do we stand for as a company? What are our ethics? We have a kind of a 5-thing. Mm-hmm. What do we stand for as a company? What you're going to get with us? If you're just going to throw us in a spreadsheet, guys, if you're just going to, if somebody calls and says, I'm getting 8 bids on this strip mall,
mm-hmm.
We're not interested, because here's the deal. We're not going to be low price. So if we can't go in there, and that's okay if they just say, we're going to go with whoever's lowest, no problem. That's just not for us. But
mm-hmm.
if we can't sell you on our partnership, the type of work that you're going to get from us, and we try to figure out how can we be solution based. We heard what you're struggling with. Here's our solution. Here's our story, and here's our price. And because we're not low cost, but if we can tell you our story, our price starts to make a lot more sense. Oh, you're 20% more, but I get X, Y, and Z, and that is valuable to me.
Mm.
And so I just, for us, we really like to tell our story. And if you're just going to throw me in a spreadsheet, like we get those, you guys probably all get them, right?
I've been there.
Go on to property management in the phone book, and you'll get on a bid list, and they send 30 packets out to everybody in your local community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for apartment buildings and strip malls and maybe some business parks. They throw you in a spreadsheet, low cost provider gets it. We did some of that work for a long time, and it will fill the gaps, but those aren't partnerships. And I want people to understand that is not a business partnership. That
mm-hmm.
is just purely transactional.
Mm-hmm.
And so we like partnerships. We like loyalty. We're loyal to our clients. We're loyal to our vendors. And so we have to tell our story. And
that's
and
huge.
If we don't have the opportunity to tell our story, we're not interested, because then you don't know who we are and what we do and what we value. And we talk about our people, and we drug test, and and all our experience and our certifications. And we want to tell our story so that you see why we're valuable and why we're the right choice for your company. If our values align with your values.
That's awesome.
If your values are, I don't give a shit, I just want the lowest price, that's okay. We're not the company for you.
1,000%. And by the way, I get a lot of people, Kory, that shoot me messages, like emails especially, because everybody wants to bid this commercial strip mall because it'll change their business, change their life. And I'm like, maybe, just maybe, but then they don't get it. And I said, well, did you do a 20-minute flyby contract and just submit it? Or did you actually go to the office and walk the property and get to know the lady for an hour? And you're like, I don't have time for this. You don't have time for a $40,000 account like that. Dude, you need to go hire somebody to go get on that mower for $15 an hour, so you can take an hour to go do income producing activities that pay the bills, which is selling, in my opinion, as the owner, right? This all goes full circle, Kory, right?
Yep.
And I see a lot of these people. I'm like, well, do they know who you are? Do they know your wife's name? Do they know that you have a family? Do they know that you grew up 5 minutes down the road? Do they know that, the office manager, she went to Michigan State? Oh, my younger brother went to Michigan State. What did you study? Oh, business marketing. Oh my God, my younger what year? Oh my God, 2009? Oh, my brother was in 2007. Maybe they crossed paths. Wow, this is they don't have that relationship. And so there's
100% relationship, man. You've got to build relationships, and you've got to build them sometimes way before the sale.
Yes.
My business partner is the best salesman I've ever seen, and he does some weird stuff. He a lot of times he'll just go in and get to know them. And I'm like, man, you didn't even try to sell them anything. He's like, they'll come back. Like
100%.
It's like he's in there. I see you fish, man. Where are you fishing? Oh yeah, I was just fly fishing in Wyoming myself.
Mm-hmm.
And he builds this relationship, and it starts with the relationship. If you want long-term partnerships, if you just want to be a low-cost provider, then you're right. Just throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks. You'll get a few apartment buildings in a come and go, or get and go, or whatever your 7-Eleven, whatever your gas stations are. You'll get a few. Throw 30 bids out there. You might get 3 or 4, but you're going to get them because you're the low-cost provider. When you go in and you start getting common ground, and you're right. My kid plays on that same soccer team. And now all of a sudden you start to create a relationship. And then here's another thing. When you're not low bid, maybe they call you up and go, hey, you know what, Brian, I got that bid from you. Everything looks really good. But your pruning's like $200 or whatever the number is. Your pruning's a little crazy high. Can we make it work? And you're like, yeah, you know what? I think I can. I mean, they'll probably make that phone call to you and say, you know, I'd love to use you. You're close. And then you can make a business decision to say, you know what? Yeah, we can get there.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can't. But if it's purely just, I get that all the time. Like, well, I bid 47 properties. I'm like, what do you mean you bid them? Well, we mailed them out April 1st. I'm like, did you talk to anybody? Well, no. I'm like, you didn't even call them? You didn't even, did you email? Well, I shot some emails out. I didn't get any responses. Like, of course you didn't. They have no relationship with you. You didn't. Man, go shake hands, kiss babies. And you're like politician, go kiss the baby.
And dude, I was confiding in you because I was pissed off. I was like, Kory, I did all this stuff a year ago because I was like, Kory, because this was my question. I said, I get this question a lot. I gave him my answer to all these people that DM and email me. But I asked you, I said, from the horse's mouth, Mr. Lawn Care Guru, Kory Ballard, right? You know what I'm saying? And you're like, and you told me this. And I said, you know what, Kory? I realized that about 6 months ago because I had a storage place call me up and they were like, hey, we want to bid and da-da-da-da-da. And I said, and some of you guys think that I'm a little abrasive sometimes, and I am, but because I super tremendously value my time. Like I'm crazy with how much I value my time. And this lady called me up, and I said, "Hey, her name is Jay." I said, "Hey, Jay, are you just bidding right now because you need 3 bids to submit to your corporate office so you can have a best price, low price vendor to take care of this property? Or are you actually looking for a new property management company that can take care of your grounds for the next 3 to 5 to 10 years? And she, like, the phone went silent because nobody had ever pushed back or challenged her or asked her a legitimate question. And she goes, well, honestly, Brian, like, I do need to get 3 bids to turn in by the end of the month. And she goes, if it is a good potential bid, we might be willing to maybe partner for a year or 2 or whatever. And you could just instantly tell that she was looking for the low price bidder. And I threw a proposal together that was so ridiculously, outrageously priced, like triple, like obnoxious, like it would be highway robbery, because I said, if this is how you're going to treat me in my time, this is how I'm going to treat you. And I don't know if this is right or wrong, but this is how I felt, Kory, because I'm real. So I sent this like bid that was like probably 3 times more than it should have been, because if I did get it, hey, at least I make a good year out of it. But I don't want a good year out of it. I want a good 5 or 10 years out of it and build a partnership. And I want her to get to know me and me to get to know her. But I just realized at the beginning of the phone call that this lady was wasting my time. She's wasting 2 other contractors times 2, by the way, by getting these bids, because there's no loyalty. There was no incentive for her to go with me over another person other than the price. And I'm like, look, I'm not the price guy. Like, I'm trying to build something here. And I don't know. I just get fired up, bro.
Yeah. And a lot of times they have no intention of changing. So we ask a lot of tough questions as well. Sometimes they just want to throw a couple other bids in their file so that they can say they did their job.
Exactly.
A lot of times they'll say, well, no, we're pretty happy with our current provider. We just need to make sure he's priced right.
Oh my God.
Dude, I'm not that guy.
Dude, Kory, this literally happened a week ago, by the way. Troy Clogg, friend of mine, friend of yours. Troy Clogg, I had a company email me. They had 4 convenience stores. They called me, left a voicemail. I called him back. He said, yeah. He goes, no, I go, so are you looking for exactly what we just said? I said, are you looking for somebody, da-da-da-da-da? And they said, no, we're happy with who we have. They do a good job, but we're just trying to shop around to see if we can get a better price. And I said, and I just like cut them off. Like, you guys have no idea. I'm very aggressive actually behind the scenes. I'm like, look, who are you going with right now? And you're like, you can't ask those questions. I go, bet. I go, who are you going with? And they said, well, we use Troy Clogg and Associates. And I said, oh my God, I was going to refer you to somebody, which would have been Troy Clogg and Associates. I said, if Troy's doing a good job for you and you're happy, I said, you need to hang up the phone right now and stop calling people and stick with my friend Troy, because there's nobody that's going to service your properties that are in these different regions and take care of it as good as Troy and Troy's people. I said, you're literally wasting time. And he goes, yeah. He goes, you think? I go, I know. He goes, yeah. He goes, we were just trying to shop around and get a little bit better price. And I literally Facebook Messengered my boy Troy. And he goes, hey, bro, thanks for the loyalty. Thanks for the support. Because I'm not trying to snake business away from Troy. I wouldn't have done these 4 properties because they're in like 4 different cities anyway, Kory. But he was shopping around for price. And I'm like, why would you do that when you got one of the best guys regionally taking care of your properties? Like, and so there's so many lessons that you can derive from all this conversation, you know, but it just gets me fired up, Kory, because I'm like, this is the kind of stuff that actually would have helped me grow my company 10 years ago, you know, not who's making the best backpack blower. Who cares? Like, this is the kind of stuff I'm trying to take care of my family, you know?
Yeah, I get that all the time. Who makes the best mower? I'm like, I don't know.
I just get so fired up, man. Okay. Hey, 2 last things here. We're going to have to do like a whole nother plug for Ballard Inc. and the Ballard products here, because you know, like a whole nother episode one day, because if you guys don't know Kory's products, the Ballard Inc. products, like, you know, tons of great opportunity there with shoot deflectors, catch pros. I wanted to go down this rabbit hole, Kory, about, you know, how you got into doing Ballard Inc., which has been around for 20 years. And for real, for all of you guys that have been using the Brian's 10 code and saving 10% and supporting Kory, and I mean, these products literally are designed to help you guys grow your business. Go to Ballard Inc., like snoop around. There's literally something for everybody. We use a handful of Kory's products. They make my life easier. So a little plug there. But here's the real thing I wanted to ask you, Kory, is this might be a little bit different. This is like my last 5 minutes I got that I want to ask you. And I've never asked anybody this question because I'm always like, oh, what questions do I ask? What questions do I ask? Well, Kory, here's my question to you. What question would you wish that somebody would actually ask you that you think is incredibly important or one of the most important things to you? Like, I'm always like, Kory, what do you think about this? Because like, I only got my pay grade and my worldview, right? Like I only know the 4 windows of life, right? Well, what's a question that you wish that somebody would ever freaking ask you that you get passionate about, that you'd want to talk about? Like open mic.
Oh man, that's tough. That's a good one. You should have told me that ahead of time. I got to thought through.
Well, that's why I thought this thought while we were talking, because I'm like, you know, I'm always like, well, what's the best this? What's the best that? And sometimes like people do podcasts and they interview me and I'm like, dude, I wish you would just talk about this, because I just want to roll, because I get so charged up and passionate about something. So is there anything that you're always like, man, you got to focus on your marketing and branding, or like you got to focus on people, or you got to focus on your thought process? Like, is there anything that you get extra passionate about that has been a huge gem of your success over the last 20, 30 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I think for me, and we talked a little before we were live, I think you first got to figure out, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? And make sure that you're sure that's going to make you happy. I think a lot of people believe that if they get to some sort of financial dollar, they're going to be happy. And I know a lot of people that are really successful, and they're not that happy. Some of the most miserable people I know are some of the richest people I know. And
sure.
I think each person needs to figure out what their passion is. And my deal that I tell a lot of people is just be all in. Be all in, and not just for a week or a month. Whatever you do, you just have to do. You have to be committed. And again, I'm just a guy that I don't believe I'm the smartest guy by any means. I believe I think I can outwork you. Mm-hmm. So my commitment was I'll just outwork you, but I'll do it 7 days a week. We get off here, I'm going to the office. Sunday, I'll be in the office, and my commitment has always been that I will stay dedicated and true to my goals for as long as it takes. And everybody's driven different, and so it's not for everybody, because I've also struggled with my life and work balance. I've put work ahead of family and kids, and I've been selfish in that way at times, and so, you know, I think everybody has to decide what is their why, and what are they doing it for? Because I think people believe, I told you when I do this consulting, I ask people, would you rather be big or profitable? It's one of the questions I ask.
Mm-hmm.
Most people say big, and I say why. And I also say, what are you willing to do to get there? And they say anything. I'm willing to do anything to get there. And then as I start talking to them, they start telling me all the things they're not willing to do. So I say, well, then you're not willing to do anything. Well, I like to boat on Saturdays. Sundays I don't work. I usually shut my phone off Friday at noon. Whatever that looks like. I'm just, and I'm like, so, would you rather be big or profitable? What are you willing to do to get there? And are you willing to do it for a long amount of time? And you and I talked off record, I get really frustrated with people that say things but don't do things. I'm an action guy. I don't really care. I don't really care what you say. I care what you do, and I watch what you do. And do you do it over and over and over? And sometimes you just don't know when you're right. You're just maybe one sledgehammer away from breaking through. You just don't know when you're right there and you're just about to finally break through. And so, for me, it's just, I think each person needs to figure out what are their goals. And again, are they really going to make them happy? There's so much misconception with money. And I hear that if I just made 50 grand, if I just made 100 grand, all my problems would go away. They won't. They won't go away. And so each person has to find their happiness, their why, their balance, and again, just be very honest and self-aware. I learned a lot. We grew our company really fast, and at a young age. I think we were doing 10 million, and I was 27 years old, 26 years old.
Wow, that's awesome.
I was a prick. I'm just telling you, I was a prick. I wasn't a good person. I was arrogant. I thought I was invincible. I wasn't a very good person. And I can say that now looking back. I didn't know it at the time. But you learn and you have to listen to people, and you get good mentors around you. And try to surround yourself with winners, man. I try to surround myself with winners all the time, and I try to listen, and try to figure out what they're doing, and there's that kind of thing too. Would you rather be, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And I wanted to be right for a long time. Now I just kind of want to be happy. Now I kind of just want to be happy.
Amen. Well,
that's a long answer. I don't even know if I hit on what you're saying, but that's just some of the stuff that,
No, for sure.
As we navigate through life, man, figure out what works for you and stick to it, man. Stick to it and just be a good dude. Yeah. I always say that. And if you're walking, just be a good person. First and foremost, just be a good person. And, man, the rest of it kind of falls in place. People want to do business with good people.
I love it, man. No, it was a curveball question because I didn't prep you on that one, but sometimes I like to just throw it out there because you kind of get the unthoughtful answer, like off the cuff answer, like you just did. And that's really good because it just shows like, it's like the most top of your mind thought. And so it just kind of shows like where you're at, and you're a good dude, bro. Like people do business with you because they like you. I do business with you because I like, you're a good guy. All of you guys that are listening in, if I'm engaging with you, it's because I enjoy listening and talking to you guys. And, and we're all in this together. I say that a lot. People think it's like this cheesy thing, but if you listen to this, dude, you're a butt kicker, man. Like, that's why this podcast exists. And so if you're a man of action, you guys send me photos on DM and email, like, look at this mower, or look at this job, or I just quit my job to go full time. Like, cool, good. Like, that's what I want to see. Like, I hate talkers like you were talking about, Kory. I'm an action dude. And I might not be a Kory Ballard or a Stanley, like kind of out front, but behind the scenes, I'm like I will smoke you kind of guy, but that's just my quiet and inward personality type. You know what I mean? So, hey, what?
And I want everybody to win. I want everybody to win. That's my deal. I really want everybody to win. I want, and people don't get that. Like, I just want everyone to win, man. I don't know, man. I want people to do well. I'm excited for them.
And you winning or me winning doesn't stop anybody else from winning. Just so you guys know, you guys winning doesn't prohibit me from winning. Like, not my worldview. No. So let's kick butt, man, and chew bubble gum. And I'm all out of gum, right? So that's Anybody Duke Nukem 3D? That's a way of taking it back. Hey, one last thing, and we'll wrap this guy up. Is if you guys listen to this far in, you guys deserve a treat. Well, don't be blasting it out just yet because the tickets aren't available. But before we hit record, I formally invited Kory to be one of our guest speakers at Launchpreneur Academy Live 2020. So Kory, you said yes, you're coming. You excited about that or what?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be there. I'm looking forward to I just love shaking hands, talking to dudes that do what we do. And
yes.
And man, I'm excited.
So November 7th, if you guys want to block off the date, you can. Tickets will go on sale in about a month or so, probably early or mid-July. But I was talking about Kory, and I said, Kory, what's some of the things that you want to talk about? He's like, what's some things you want me to talk about? I said, dude, company culture, building teams, hiring people, having a vision. He goes, bet. He goes, man, that's like a fastball for me. I'm going to nail that out of the park. He goes, that's the stuff that I get passionate about, and that's what he built Perficut out of. And I said, well, this is going to be just a great conversation. So cool. Well, Kory, appreciate you, brother, more than you know. Guys, thanks so much for supporting Ballard and everything that he's got with the Ballard Inc. products and the Brian's 10 and blah, blah, blah. We really appreciate it. Thanks for all the reviews that are coming in as well. A lot of 5 stars, a lot of great praise. We really appreciate that. Kory, anything last up that you want to wrap up with? If not, we'll shut it down, brother.
Yeah, I was going to say, I also appreciate it. And you guys have been pounding the Brian's 10 on Ballard-Inc.com. You guys, you got a great following, and you guys are taking full advantage of that. So we appreciate the orders and we appreciate the support. And
cool.
Let me know. You guys can find us at Ballard-Inc.com. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Feel free to shoot us questions, and we do the same thing. We work really hard on our social media to get back to everybody. And
cool.
So we appreciate the support, Brian. I appreciate being on, buddy, and we'll catch up soon. We could do we could do hours on end.
I know. Oh, hey, the Green Grind podcast, by the way, that's something that you get, that you're just literally, it's not monetized even. You're just giving great info away, an episode every week or two, or once a month even. So the Green Grind podcast, I'll leave that in the show notes. But yeah, hey, Kory, here's the fun thing, man. I'm going to take this episode, go immediately put it on my computer and upload it so it drops on Monday or Wednesday. How about that? So
shoot it over to me so we can blast it out and see if we can actually get we're gonna get you record listeners.
Oh, okay, there you go. Well, Jason Creel might fight you for that, or the Caleb Allman, those guys, or Keith Kalfas. Those are my top interviews, man. So we got to get you in like the couple thousand mark and see where you're at. We got big hitters, man. So it's we're
gonna blow those guys away. I'll do a paid boost just to beat them.
Oh my God, there you go. Oh, hey, you can pay to boost all my stuff all day long, brother. I love getting around like competitive people, man. So all my guys listen to the podcast right now as they're cutting grass. We're all like just insane type A guys, so I love it. All right, guys. Well, hey, we're going to shut it down. Super appreciate you guys listening more than you guys know. Thanks for making the podcast in the top 50 consistently. We really do appreciate that. The ratings, the reviews. So guys, that's it. We're going to wrap it up. Kory, thanks again for jumping on the show, brother.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.